Hi, I just came back from the Dark Knight, and it was good. And I got this T-shirt here. It says the Dark Knight on the bottom there, and it's got kind of a silvery, chromy look. I think that was pretty cool, so I went and bought it. I saw the movie in IMAX, and if you've ever seen a movie in IMAX, you have to experience it. It's incredible. The whole wall is one big movie screen, whereas the other formats are more of a rectangle shape. And so anyways, there was a lot of fans there. A lot of people wearing Batman T-shirts and capes and masks. Even the employees, they were wearing Dark Knight looking T-shirts to go with their uniforms for the movie, and stuff, and that worked at the theater. And but anyways, and I had to get. I got there about an hour early, but still the line was long, and I was lucky to get a seat near the back, because when I go to an IMAX movie or any, I want to be kind of near the back. I don't like being up near the front looking up at the screen like this, because it bothers my eyes. So, because last year, I learned my lesson from last year. Last year I went to see Spider-Man 3, and I had to sit near the front, and I didn't like that experience. But IMAX is fun, and you should, experience it. In my hometown, I got a theater that has 18 screens, and one of those screens is an IMAX. So I'm really fortunate to be living in a town with an IMAX. Pretty nice. Anyways, moving on to the movie now, the story and review and so forth. Here the plot, basically Batman and James Gordon join forces with Gotham's new District Attorney Harvey Dent to take on the psychotic bank robber known as the Joker, while other forces plot against them, and the Joker's crime grows more and more deadly. I could go on, but I don't want to give too many things away. But that's just a little summary of what the movie, part of the movie is. And I like this movie because I like this Batman, because this Batman is more believable than, like, let's say the Tim Burton Batman. The Tim Burton Batman, is too campy. This Batman's more believable. Like, for instance, Gotham City. Gotham City in this movie is like a real modern-day, regular American city. Like New York, Chicago. But in the Tim Burton movies, Gotham City is this big fantasy land-looking city with goddish-looking statues and columns and so forth. And if you've ever seen the Batman and Robin movie in the late 1990s, you'll know what I'm talking about. And one of the things, though, is that one of the things I have to say about Batman, and especially Christopher Nolan's Batman, is that Batman is so realistic as a character, or more believable as a character than, let's say, Superman or Spider-Man, because Batman doesn't have powers. So he's well trained in martial arts, and he has a body armored suit, and he's very good with gadgets and so forth. He's kind of like a vigilante. So, and this character is very more believable than other superheroes, and you can relate to the hero that doesn't have power. So I think that part of Batman is pretty cool. And I think that Heath Ledger, I think he did a very good job as the Joker in this film. I think his Joker was better than Jack Nicholson's the Tim Burton movies, and Cesar Romero's from the 1960s Batman TV show, because those clowns kind of seemed a little bit like circus clowns, too goofy and wacko-do and all that. But his Joker was more of a guy that had some problems up here, had some real mental problems, had to, and he put makeup on his face and called himself the Joker. There are people out there that are crazy like that, his Joker was more believable as a person with a mental problem that puts makeup on his face. Whereas the Jack Nicholson Joker from the Tim Burton movies in the 90s was a guy who got into a fight with Batman, fell off the platform, landed into a big bunch, big thing of chemicals, and his skin got bleached. He had surgery to make his face look like he was smiling, and but this is a little bit more believable, as this Joker is. So I think his Joker was the best. It's a when I was just watching Heath Ledger, I never really thought about his death. I never really thought he was gone, But then after the movie was towards the end, it kind of occurred to me that it certainly would have been nice to have, because the Joker did, the Joker did get away. So you have to figure that he'll be back. He'll be back for the next film. It just won't be, Heath Ledger. Regrettable, unfortunately, but he did a good. Heath Ledger did a very good job. And as far as the story goes, the story seemed a little bit of a mixture between crime story and superhero movie, and I think they did a very good job with that. The story is this is a very intelligent type movie. It's the kind of movie that a lot of adults would like to see. And I think it's not a campy superhero movie. That is for darn sure. I think that the makeup department did a very good job with Harvey Dent Two-Face, because Harvey Dent Two-Face, he lost part of his face in that explosion, and when he was laying in his hospital bed, when his eyes were looking around like this, the eye on the scarred side of his face was also moving around too, like it was a real eye, But it's something that the makeup department did, and they did a good job with that, because years ago that kind of effect may not have been possible, but it was pretty amazing. I thought it was cool too. But anyways, also another thing too that was good in the movie is the pyrotechnics. As far as there was a part in the movie where this hospital building just explodes, and I've seen so many buildings exploding in movies before, but I have to say this is the best explosion of a building I've ever seen in a movie, especially when you see it on IMAX. It was just incredible. Also, another thing about this movie too is that Christopher Nolan, he really, succeeded the last film, because the last film was a hit. It was big, and when you come out with a hit, you got to come out with a bigger hit next time, because the bar has been risen, so you have to make it better next time. And he did that. It's like George Lucas. When George Lucas made a Star Wars movie back in 1977, it was a big hit, and when he released The Empire Strikes Back, it went even further, and it was better when it came out in 1980. So I think Christopher Nolan has done a great job on this movie. I think that Christian Bale as Batman, he continues to show that he is one of the best Batmans. I think the best Batman. And I thought, in the Tim Burton movies, I always thought that Michael Keaton was a good Batman. Although I thought when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman in the old Batman movies, I thought that, him being a guy who was somewhere around, 5'9", 5'10", he wasn't, big enough for that part, but he played it very well. But I think Christian Bale, in my opinion, is the Batman. I mean, he has earned that character well, and he will be Batman in the future. And I think, and I also want to say that I want to give the movie 2 thumbs up. I give it a A+. I think it's worth that, and I think you'll really like this movie if you go and see it. This is by far one of the best Batman films I've ever seen, and it's certainly one of the top superhero movies. But it's the best Batman film. I mean, make no question. I mean, this is an example of how to make a Batman film. And that Batman and Robin movie in the late 1990s, that's an example of not how to make a Batman movie. So, that's my review. A+, thumbs ups, and I just want to say that until my next review, whatever it's about, whatever movie, whatever, I'll see you until that time. and talk to you all later.